Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. What's up? How are you guys? Hope everybody's doing well. Get my screen sharing going. What's up, Navy Plum? Strife, what's up? Good morning. How are you guys? Hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Sorry I was not around very much. I was finalizing some stuff with getting a property sold, and it was like home stretch, but all the contractors are done, photos are done, goes on the market Thursday. So glad to have all that wrapped up, and hopefully will free me up to at least finish this week out strong. I don't know. I feel like I got some catching up to do. I've just been not having my bearings very much this month because I've been dealing with this process. Where is my? Oh, that's why it doesn't look right. Let's try that. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong screen. What is that pulling from? Okay, psych. Sorry. Let me try this again. Why does it? Oh, you know what? Probably help if I just switch this up. There we go. That's the right screen. Okay, you guys should see the correct screen now. Sorry about that. Let's make sure our stream to YouTube is going. That looks pretty good, I think. Looks like it's falling behind a little bit, but it'll, I'm assuming it will catch itself up. All right, so we got our ES chart up here. Got a few tickers to take a look at. We did trade plans on recently, both the member selected tickers over the weekend, as well as going to recap our trade plans from the live stream on 9/21 last Thursday. Which there's one that I haven't pulled up yet, which is a firm. Pretty sure that one's just been smashing put price targets, but we'll talk about that here in a second. I'll hit one at least. Let's take a look at this one now. Looks like it was a nice setup, breakdown, back test, continue down, price targets being hit. SMA is probably getting ready to push it back down, but we'll circle back to this one in a minute. All right, let me get caught up with where we are at in the chat. Okay, what's up, guys? So, good morning, Nicole. Good morning, King Kong. Queen V, what's up? For you guys who are new, if you would like to chat with me or respond or ask questions or post tickers you want me to take a look at, make sure you've got the chat window of this live stream channel open. Little word bubble looking icon up in the top right hand corner of your screen. If you're here in the live stream chat, you'll see where Navy Plum and Strife typed good morning this morning. You'll see all our old trade plans, all that good stuff. So make sure you do have the chat part of this live stream open because that's what makes it interactive and I think useful and beneficial to everybody. So what's going on with the markets right now? Obviously, we've been in quite a decline here over the past few days, especially with this sell-off that kind of kicked off Wednesday, continued to push things down. Back testing, creating and back testing supply zones, pushing down further. We actually did have a 4-hour demand zone that ES was just barely holding on the 4-hour chart, but it did eventually get invalidated. However, I've also been watching this trend line, a little bit of a higher time frame trend line, where we have our 1, 2, where was it? 3 hits right there. That's the one I was watching going into kind of the second half of the day yesterday. It looked like we were breaking out and getting above it, but then sort of immediately next candle we're back down below. On the hourly time frame, though, it looks like we might be sliding out and back testing. But again, the angles of these are sort of estimated by TradingView really when you change the time frame. So they do try to adjust it some, so it's hitting essentially the same spots, but obviously this looks like it was clearly invalidated to the upside there, and we're kind of just fighting back and forth between it. So you're starting to see some reactions though on the back tests, so could be trying to build up and find some buyers there. We shall see. We'll just keep this on watch, but overall things looking still a little bit bearish. Definitely SPY it could come, well, ES and therefore SPY, SPX, etc. Could come down and test this next demand zone before we see any real bounce. So this is just letting. I'm sure it does, Strife. It's been a good time to short futures, that's for sure, especially over the last several days. So um, that being said, from a seasonality standpoint, I think we're gonna we might start to see things cool off as far as the selling goes. September's notoriously a bearish month. I think even the second half, especially, is fairly bearish. So, we could see things start to turn around a little bit heading into next month. But we just have our plans and stick to them and be ready to play whichever direction things takes us. So, if you guys have any ticker requests, go ahead and start punching those into the chat section of the live stream channel here. I'm going to go ahead and recap some of our recent trade plans while I'll let you guys mull that over and get your ticker requests in. So, SPY plan from yesterday, again, very sorry. Sorry I A, wasn't playing it personally, and B, wasn't able to kind of provide more guidance than I was able to throughout the day. Like I said, I was just kind of tied up getting everything through the home stretch so I can be freed up for the rest of the end of September and on into October a little bit more than I have been this month. It's just been tough dealing with this property transaction, real estate transaction. So yesterday's SPY plan, we saw our breakout over our call entry level, hit PT1, came back, kind of consolidated in between, and created a base in between our stop loss levels and our call entry level. So again, kind of still on the bullish side of things, still ultimately looking bullish from a price action standpoint. Neptune kind of had the top there really nailed. I mean, again, as you get into the highest levels of a bear flag like this on my indicator, or into the deepest levels of a bullish flag like this, the lowest levels of it, the selling pressure kind of ramps up, is at its highest there, buying pressure at its highest there. So not surprised that we had a confluence there with the top of the Neptune flag, a key level on the day, also a pre-market rejection there that we saw. So, not surprised that PT1 was a little bit tough to get through, but when we did, you see we moved up, got to PT2, consolidated, tried to fight all the way up to PT3 and kind of bounced around between PTs 1 and 2 for calls. Then it had to get this little bit of a shakeout before we did finally get the push and did hit PT3 right at the close. I mean, so I think, let's see, we were 10 cents off from high a day, exactly there, right where we closed on PT3. So levels were solid. Plan was exactly the way almost exactly the way we wanted to play out. Exactly the way it would be. It just breaks out and cruises on up and keeps smashing price targets. But the levels were highly reactive and accurate as I try to keep them. Again, apologies that A, I wasn't there to kind of talk you guys through it, and B, I wasn't sitting there making money with y'all while I was doing that. Tesla, this is an interesting one. I know it's going to look a little funky from a trade plan standpoint because we did kind of two Tesla plans recently. We did one on Thursday's live stream, and then it was on the member selected tickers over the weekend. Our live stream trade plan had us taking an entry on Tesla at a break below 254.63. You know what I didn't capture was the stop loss average down level for that overplay in 256.71. So it was, up in this neck of the woods, the stop loss average down from that plan. It's gonna make it look like that. I put all these kind of, because we've got some overlap essentially, looking at some of the same levels for the plan I did over the weekend. So this was our put entry, stop loss. Clearly we broke below, back tested, did fight up near the stop loss level, but again, multiple SMAs right there, key level from a plan, bearish flag on Neptune. Everything just says, this little bounce is going to get sold off. Sure enough, it did. And then it started just nailing all of our price targets, hit all three in one day, actually, and then even went lower than that as far as that previous trade plan is concerned. So those orange levels. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and delete those off for now, just because that's going to be tricky. How am I going to do that? Let's see. Do this visual order, send to back. try to clean this up a little bit so it's less confusing, because we have some shared levels essentially between these two plans here. Whoops, gosh, sorry about that. Get my clicks on. All right, there we go, perfect. That guy, and that's actually right where we need to be. So this is the current Tesla trade plan, kind of the way the chart is set up now. Again, be very careful. I say this all the time. I hope you guys listen to this. Be very careful jumping into stuff, first 15 to 30 minutes of market open. Kind of let that initial price action volatility play itself out a little bit, unless you are extremely confident in something. Like, for me, I don't think I personally would have played this, but again, nice confluence there, 100 SMA, highest selling pressure on Neptune, big rejection first 5 minutes right where we opened. Could have seen playing something like that if you're using these indicators, but really, again, price action wise, I say let the first 15 to 30 minutes settle for sure. So got a little bit of a dip below, but again, ultimately, I wouldn't be even looking at trades until we're up in this range, right? So bouncing back and forth between the put entry and stop loss average down level for both trade plans, and then kind of ping pong between the call entry and that level. Pushed up and over after hours, but again, not a confirmed break during the cash session, so not much we could do about that. And now we're back in the range. So keep this range on watch. The Tesla plan is still in effect, in my opinion, using these same levels. SC, I think we have done SC recently. We can take a look at it. Just put it up on my list here so I don't forget to circle back to that for you there, Strafe. Yeah, looks like we had a downside trade plan. Hit those levels, bounced real hard off this PT1 for puts, all the way to PT1 for calls off that level. So, yeah, but we can circle back to that. Yeah, we'll take a look at, what is LI? I don't feel like I know that one. Is it in the lithium, maybe? I know LIT's the lithium miners ETF, Li Auto. Familiar with them. I'm guessing they're in the EV space. Yep, electric vehicles, Li One, sport utility vehicle, range extension system. Chinese EV company. Okay. Yep. Sure, we'll take a look at it, Nicole. All right, so let's talk about Tesla again. That trade plan's kind of just wait and see mode. Apple trade plan from the member selected tickers over the weekend. Got our breakout, got our back test. Everything was looking fairly bullish indicator wise. Got within 12 cents of PT1. I hope folks took profit and moved their stops up at that point. I know we didn't make full contact with that, but again, anytime you're within a reasonable range, generally I say 10 cents, 12 cents. I mean, again, we're talking pennies here. It's not going to change your options contracts price that much. Make sure that you're selling as you're approaching, scaling some off as you're approaching your price targets, not waiting for your price targets to hit and then see, ooh, maybe it's going to reject, maybe it's not. If you're working with a smaller account, you can only play one contract at a time. I say go ahead and take your profits here, see if we do break, see if we back test. If we back test, get back in, right? But smaller accounts, you just got to be willing to take those base hits and build it up slowly until you can establish multiple contracts without violating what I would say is smart position sizing, and getting yourself into trouble by being kind of too big into a trade that may go south on you. So anyway, long story short, I'd say I want to call that a hit. I feel like it's just a little bit too far from hitting PT1, but certainly at a profit taking zone, right? So hopefully folks took profit, moved their stops up, did develop a little bit of a head and shoulders, which broke down, caught the bottom of the bullish flag. We talked about that. Nice bounce right off the bottom level there. A little bit of a gap down this morning, though, pushing back down a little bit, but back also within our trade range, right? So just keep an eye on Apple. The levels are there for you in the options watch list from the member selected tickers over the weekend. And then Meta has been, so far, nothing to see here. Has not broken above 302.84. Kind of did something similar to Tesla, actually, pre-market, but much more quickly regain that put entry level as support. So again, 15 minutes at least. I'd say 30 is probably even better to give things time to sort of settle a little bit from the opening volatility, especially on a Monday. So we've got Nvidia and Li Auto that we'll be taking a look at. Somebody asked about, oh no, Affirm was also a trade plan that we did on last Thursday's member selected tickers. On this one, again, nice rejection there on Friday off of our stop loss average down level, breaks below our put entry level right here, gives us the back test. Second candle pushes down further. You're definitely it puts there if you weren't already on that back test there. And then things kind of just continue to move down. Came pretty close, within 16 cents of PT2, but ultimately got PT1 and is now getting pushed down again by the 100 SMA. So we could see this continue down, although it did do enough yesterday to flip things bullish on Neptune. Also a little bit of a confluence down there, so could see a bounce at 1953 there on Affirm. But keep it on watch. Again, there are your plan levels right there on the screen for you. Put entry, call entry, stop loss for those plans, PT1, 2, 3, PT1, 2, 3. And then SC, yeah, we did do a plan on this recently. How far back was it? Oh, yeah, it was a while ago. We did this plan back on, what, August 21st. And at that point in time, pushed down, got below our put entry level, hit second price target, came all the way back up near our call entry level. Got a little bit of a fake out there above the call entry level. If you were kind of trying to recycle the same plan, a couple of fake outs, maybe I need to reevaluate those upside levels a little bit. Well, then we finally got the big push, and then that was after another break to the downside. Then a nice bounce, like I said, off near that PT1 level. I wouldn't really say off it, it's a little bit below, but off that or near that PT1 level for puts, all the way up to PT1 for calls. That's a pretty clean rejection there. And now looks like it's back testing the call entry levels. So this actually looks like it's got some potential for continuation. If it can hold 39.58, I'd say I'd be interested in some calls. And yeah, use that good confluence there too with Neptune and our stop loss average down level there at 38.98. So that's SC. Keep it on watch. All right, so Nvidia I think was the first one for Ace, Mr. Ace Rothstein. Don't want to, sleep with the fishes. Want to make sure we keep Ace happy. Look at Nvidia. Now we've done a few trade plans on this one recently. We might even be in a recent trade plan range. Oh no, not even close. Last time we did a trade plan on it was the 14th of this month. Back then, oh wait, where was our? So this is our. I'm sorry, I've apparently reused these levels for some different plans since then. I wonder if I put it on the recap chart. Hang on, I probably have a new. Yeah, I don't want to get whacked. I might have it. I might have moved the recent plan over to this other layout. Just check real quick. It's hard to keep track of this stuff sometimes. I did it. When did we do this plan? So this is a second NVIDIA trade plan. And this one's also played out for all downside targets hit. We were looking for a break below 432.01. And it looks like it's trying to fight its way back up, but right now, at least as of yesterday, looks like our PT1 from our put trade plan, which is now flipped from support to resistance. Clean rejection. Looks like it was pretty much the high of day yesterday. 425.36. We had 425.09. I mean, again, on a volatile ticker that's in the 400 range, I'd say that's pretty damn accurate. But we're not at a point where this current trade plan as it is all that useful. Also still under this downtrend line. In fact, pretty far removed, almost oversold off of it. So anyway, let's what I'll do is I'll go ahead and bail on these. I don't think we need them anymore. Let's just clean things up a little bit here. Let's go back to my full NVIDIA chart. Let's get rid of this stuff that's just going to throw me off a little bit. And let me clean up these lines. Turn these off just for a moment. Oh, I'll do it here. Forgot I moved that. Okay, there we go. Some more things I needed to clean up here, because then it just starts to get a little noisy at a certain point. All right. That looks pretty clean. Let's see these last couple. All right. Got some levels stacked up there. So let's zoom out on this a little bit. Get rid of all these old. I was looking for some confluences for a prior trade plan. I don't think we need those anymore. This has clearly been invalidated. Don't need that. All right. Now we're kind of off to a better, cleaner start here. So I need to figure out, though, because I'm sure we've established some levels in this sort of price discovery area that we just haven't had the occasion to look at since NVIDIA made its initial breakout and run. This is definitely an interesting level, but let's go a little bit higher on the time frames actually for just a minute. If I can see these on a higher time frame, I want to kind of color code them, note them correctly. It's definitely what we're going to want to watch. Yep, that's good. Yeah, I can't really see that clearly. Probably gonna have to dig in already. Just wanted to check, make sure there wasn't any 4-hour levels that I was gonna just mark as a smaller time frame level. It's that same spot. It's right, yeah, right about there. And this is an iffy one. Let's check this over here. A little bit higher. Yeah, maybe. Pretty close to that. Let's see. Make sure I do like that. Yeah, that's pretty decent actually. And let's see if we're gonna need any levels down here. This is definitely one. Keep on watch right there. All right. Let's get on this hourly chart real quick. All right. I think we're pretty good. Check our indicators here. So, yeah, I was kind of eyeballing this 421.41 level. Then I started looking a little bit higher and where some of these bounces are happening. Clearly, this wicked way down there, but ultimately, this, looking at the bodies of these candles, kind of all held up, pushed up off that level, and that gives us a highest selling pressure there on Neptune that we would ultimately be breaking or shaking off. The only concern I have left is this downtrend line and, again, ultimately bearish moving averages overhead. To try to play this too early on the call side, but you got to jump in at some point, right? So I'm thinking 428.09 looks like a good entry level. Put a stop up here at 436.11, or stop, first price target up there at 436.11. If it moves fast enough have to be very fast. Although these are hourly candles we're talking about. We should have room to at least be able to tap pretty close to that level. Again, it's going to have to kind of run right out of the gate here this morning, but we also see another confluence kind of inbound with this 200 SMA coming near that level. So based on the price action over 428.09, I mean, it looks to me like we do have that kind of room. Over that, I like this target up here at 443.51. Clear next kind of rejection, next stair step to the upside. Some nice bounces there at that same level for sure. That's a level we're going to want to watch. And then over that, I think we've got room up to this former support up here, 451.85. Stop loss. Can we give it that much room is my question. Or should we give it that much room? Because ultimately it's pretty bearish. Let's see, 425.09, 428.09. So I'm going to keep this pretty tight in my personal opinion. And the reason for that is kind of twofold. One, if we break over this, we should flip things more bullish. We should continue up with the exception of, again, potential challenges at PT1 or this trend line. If we hit this trend line before we hit PT1, and this trend line, just so you guys can see it a little bit more clearly and can maybe mark it on your own charts. I'm kind of watching back here off these rejections. Could even kind of have another one that's sort of accelerated to the downside a little more. I doubt that actually. Well, let's see. Let's check this real quick. Man, it's got your 3 touches, but I feel like that's almost superfluous with the other trend line we have. It is cleaner, though. I do like that. This is kind of the other one that I was looking at, but I think we've clearly broken above that already. Get on there. No, we haven't really broken above it, actually. There's a bunch of different potential trend lines you could pick up on this, depending on what time frame you're looking at, but 1, 2, 3, 4, all clean. This closes right on it. And we are seeing some wick action above, but not closing above. So yeah, anyway, there are definitely some upside challenges, but again, we gotta have to pick our poison. Bigger picture, that's kind of the trend line. Current picture, I'd say, or more recently formed established trend line, might be looking at something like, yeah, I think our other one that we just had on it, where we started it, what, off this, I think. Yeah, probably looks something like that we might be dealing with currently. But again, a break of our call entry would also give us a break above that. So I think we're good to go there. Sorry, I just wanted to check that real quick, get an idea. So yeah, make sure that you're keeping an eye on really both of these trend lines, but this one especially if we're taking calls over that level. Sorry if I got into the weeds a little bit there, but I think that was something important to kind of sniff out, for lack of a better way of saying it. The other thing I liked about this, I didn't mention it, sorry. If we break over that call entry level, that puts the 100 SMA probably flattening out and starting to curl up, which should give us a confluence underneath at that 425.09. If we lose that, then we probably got caught in a bear or a bull trap and should probably get out of the trade. We also, actually looking at the hourly chart here, may have trend line helping a little bit. This bullish case might be a little bit more this guy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see another real like drop down and test to that level, but I mean, it's got the requisite touches technically. This bleeds a little bit below, but not too badly. So to the downside, let's see. Kind of thinking we're waiting for a break of this. What is that? 416.59 level. Just check this kind of, yeah, big bounce there. So I think I'd want to be cleared below that level for sure if I'm going to try to chase downside continuation on NVIDIA. There's another bounce that led to a big move to the upside off that same level. So then picking out price targets on this becomes the next question. I think honestly we're probably looking down here first price target, but let's, I had a few touches here recently that I also wanted to take a look at. Yeah, that kind of confirms what I was thinking. Below that, I definitely would play this after hours low. That's kind of put us on the current bounce that we're on. Next price target below that. Let's go back in time a little bit. Definitely seeing some pretty clean reactions off this level. Really clean, low a day. Caught that sell off nicely, to tell you the truth. So, yeah, 40101. Call it 401 flat. Then stop loss average down for this trade plan. Let's see. Kind of thinking setting it right here. Just looking at these rejections near these levels. I would expect those to hold as resistance again should we break back down below. 420, I mean, we're splitting hairs there. I'm going to give the plan a little bit more room to work out. I think I'm essentially debating between a 4-hour level and an old fib extension level. I'm going to go with the one that gives us a little bit more room for the trade to work. All right, so let's move these over to our recap chart. That way it's easy for everybody to kind of follow what we're talking about, and then I'll walk us through this plan, things to be aware of and watch out for. Let's also grab that trend line. Listen, 2 runs. Side, this guy up here. All right, so this is what our NVIDIA trade plan looks like. All right, so let's do this. Ooh. All right, let's put it on the hourly. That's kind of also what we planned it off of. Also keeps the indicators from being a little too much noise on the screen, in my opinion. At least as far as posting a chart image goes. All right, so NVIDIA trade plan. Base, if you get stopped out on this somehow, don't break my kneecaps. All right, so what we're looking for here on NVIDIA is a break over 428.09 to try to catch some upside on this one. That gives us targets at 436.11, 443.51, and 451.85 with the stop loss averaged out at 425.09. Caveat to the upside, PT1, pay attention to this trend line as well. Make sure that you are locking some profit at that or watching for a rejection so you don't get yourself into trouble. Make sure you're moving your stops up. Don't let green trades go red, all that good stuff. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 416.59 with targets at 411.45, 407.28, and 401.01 with the stop loss averaged out at 421.41. Again, this one definitely I would be leaning bearish, except for the fact that it's NVIDIA and it's probably just waiting to melt everybody's faces off to the upside. Could also actually, just notice this. I don't know how I didn't notice it before. We could actually have, this is something to pay attention to. What do we have here? Looks like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders there. And if it is, your neckline is, I think this might have been one of the trend lines we were looking at a second ago. Probably sits right there. So keep that on watch as well, because that that could actually turn into a pretty decent move to the upside. So keep a watch on that other trend line. If you want a better confirmation, potential early risky entry, 425.09. So I'm gonna actually replace, just because I just spotted that, I'm gonna replace this previous message for the NVIDIA trade plan. So just keep an eye on this stuff. I try to give you guys as much information as I can, but at the same time, I want to teach you how to fish and want you guys out there doing this on your own, and eventually, right, bring in your own ideas and trade plans and alerts to the table so we can make you guys some top traders and analysts and all that good stuff. Grow within the community. All right, so let's take a look at Lee. I've never looked at this one before. A rare occasion. Well, not rare. I'm sure there are hundreds of thousands of tickers I've never looked at, but all right, we're gonna have to start where we always start, which is finding our support and resistance levels. This guy's been around since 2020, trading in a pretty interestingly defined range. It's kind of overall from day one of trading looks sideways to me, which is interesting. But that should give us lots of good support and resistance tests to take a look at. So let's see what we've got. Definitely have something here, and honestly, I already am catching myself getting into the weeds. Anytime I've got a new chart, I'm like, ooh, this is new. I can't wait to look at all the levels, and we don't need to do that. We probably have a level here that we should use as our low target there around 2758. Probably have a high, which this is just, well, that's clearly something there. But they're not necessarily confirmed as a weekly level yet, so we'll just go with yellow for now. I don't know at what point in time I decided to start like doing this with my lines. I just need to leave them bold. Okay. So I'm going to focus on this range, and just so I don't lose my place, kind of give myself some lines to color within. What am I doing? All right, so lots of tops. Some, yeah, it's right there actually. We're talking about a weekly level. Yeah, just barely enough to go off of for that to be a weekly level. Yeah, something there. That probably. Let's see, just make sure. Nope, there's another one. Right about here. I'm not convinced. I'm just looking to see if we have another weekly level sitting maybe in this range. The thing it really kind of lacks, it's not totally absent though. If there is a weekly level, it's probably sitting right about there. This range that we're looking at. All right, let's take a look at, how am I going to want to do this? Let's start with this. Do we have any weird, bizarre wicks that print on this, which could throw off support resistance levels on a 24-hour chart? So, this is the thing I don't love about Chinese tickers, though. This just, total gaps everywhere on a daily chart. I might just use the 24-hour chart because of the fact that it at least cleans it up a little bit for us. Typically, though, with those wild wicks in the pre-market session, that could throw off support resistance levels a little bit. I'll tend to shy away from using the 24-hour chart if I see a lot of that. But with this being a Chinese ticker, we need all the data we can get because it's already, by nature, going to be very gap happy. Just because, again, does a lot of volume trading while our markets are totally shuttered. So that is something to think about. Also, keep that top of mind as you consider swinging trades on Chinese tickers, as well as what contracts you're picking. If you are going to swing, make sure you're giving yourself a like probably 2 to 3 times more time on your expiration you would with, you know, anything that is a US based ticker that trades primarily on the New York Stock Exchange, because otherwise you can have just, you know, overnight wipeout, just get totally obliterated if you don't have enough time and a gap goes against you overnight, because chances are these tickers are going to gap overnight. Say more than your average ticker would. Again, being that it does trade and have all these gaps does make charting a little bit challenging, but I like a challenge. Interesting. Double bottoms. Yeah, there's definitely a daily level sitting right there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like jumping out at me, so I'm not going to force it or belabor the point now. Again, here's where things get fun. Gap City. Gap City. Looking at 125.32 call, am I in the right? Do you mean in the right place as far as if you mean talking about January of 2025 or January 25th of 2024? When you say 125, I'm not looking at a options chain at the moment, so. That question was for you, Nicole, by the way. Let's see. Yeah, so when you say looking at 125, are you in here? Yeah, you're what? Yes, you are here. This is reality. Oh, whoa. Yeah, we talking 125, 2024 or January of 2025? Yep, Chris has nailed my question. 125. Oh, no, you're all good. Chris is probably working too. he's, he's trying to avoid getting yelled at. No, he's not. So yeah, so I think Nicole though you still haven't answered our question. Are you talking about January of 20? Okay, January of 2025. Then yes, I would say you're. Well, I don't know. You kept saying you're. Are you in the right place? Now I wonder if you were talking to us or talking to somebody at work. uh, but I'd say yes, you're giving yourself ample time. Um, I'd say on those contracts, strike price, you're buying in the money. Yeah, I like all that. As far as your contract selection goes, let's see if we can't find a plan for you to execute using that contract. I mean, yeah, I don't need to put a ton of thought into it. If you say I'm going in the money with a lot of time, I mean, essentially you're playing a leverage shares approach to options. I mean, which is smart, right? It's more cost effective. There's still a decent amount of risk involved, but much less risky than, you know, options that are expiring anytime soon and that start off out of the money. You know, generally speaking, I kind of, you know, I use those really to kind of keep in mind that not everybody's working with a, you know, large account, and so buying deep in the money leaps can be cost prohibitive for a lot of our members. So, you know, when I'm talking about trade plans or alerts or whatever, you know, I try to pick things that are still smart options contract selections, but, you know, cost effective or just more inexpensive to get into the trade, I guess is probably the better way to say it. Oh gosh, we're past 9:15 already. All right. Sorry, I'm allowing myself to get into the weeds here. Let's go with that. All right, I think we're pretty good. Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much everything's cheaper than NVIDIA. All right, so let's take a look at this guy on the hourly chart. Yeah, I wouldn't be racing into calls just yet. I would say that. If you wanted to try to pick up a potential bounce entry, could conceivably use this weekly level here, which I would also look at as a put entry level. I think that gives us stop loss up here. Well, I don't know. Stop loss could be a little bit higher. Actually, let's take a look. A little tighter on this. And the stop loss is sitting up there. Might be looking at a little bit of like a 1-to-1 scenario there on the risk reward front to the first price target. Although it does look to me like over this, nah, I think you keep the stop tight on the downside, honestly. Just based on what this looks like to me, it looks like over 34.90, it can actually make a lot of room to the upside. There's potential for it to reject at 35.47, but I feel like this is kind of what needs to hold it down if you're going to play for the downside. Just looking at the price action. That gives me a question then of first price targets, which I was eyeballing. This has got SMAs moving up. I'm kind of thinking this is our first price target. Second price target's the next level down. And then we have potentially a gap down to fill, actually. In fact, now that I'm... gosh, again, I hesitate to get too interested in gaps on these because it looks like a big gap on our chart. Chinese market, it probably looks like a smooth move. I'm going to go with those price targets. Again, Chinese tickers are always a little bit more challenging in my personal opinion and experience. So to play this to the upside, interesting rejections that are just above this 35.97 level on this hourly chart. I just want to see if maybe I have that level. Yeah, maybe I do have that a little high. I think it's sitting maybe a little bit more like right there. Let's see what that does to those rejections. Yeah, spot on. I think that gives us a fair value gap, probably at least up to 36.88. That would also put us near kind of the top of the bear flag on Neptune, so I would definitely want to make sure I'm scaling out profits there. Over that, there's an upside gap to fill. Well, again, Going back to my previous point, though, this probably looks like total smooth sailing over on the Chinese market. There is a weekly level overhead there at 37.88. I wouldn't ignore that. Also bounce off that, so prior support, I expect that to act as resistance. Then over that, yeah, pretty clear flip of support to resistance here. Support, bounce, resistance touch pretty close to that. I don't know what this was. Again, that's just the challenge of trade planning Chinese tickers. Stop loss average down. I'm eyeing 35.47 just based on smart risk reward. And we kind of talked about that being our potential stop loss on the other side. Let's get back a little bit further. I just want to check out some price action across these levels a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at like rejections like that. Attempts that bounces off of it. And we just have to have smart risk reward. So I may be picking this stop loss level a little bit haphazardly, but I think it's just the smart way to plan this, or as smart as we can. Again, I've qualified this probably too many times, but Chinese ticker's just a little harder to plan with all the gaps and whatnot on the chart. All right, so here is your Li Auto trade plan. Yeah, it's a tough one to plan for sure. So I thought, again, I like a good challenge. I think we've got a pretty well thought out plan here. So what we're looking for here on Lee is a break over 36.08 with targets at 36.90, 37.88, and 38.81 with a stop loss average down at 35.47. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 34.37 with targets at 33.57, 33 flat, and 32.16. Stop loss average down at 34.90. All right, I have to go do a speed SPY trade plan. So I really want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. We will be back Thursday at 8:30, and next week, of course, Tuesday and Thursdays at 8:30 a.m. So with that, I'm going to go get to work on the SPY plan for the day that will post in the options watch list shortly. I wish you guys the best of luck. I will see you in the chat, and as always, plan your trades and trade your plans, folks. All right, have a great day. I will see you in the chat and back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining me.